Comments on Marinka, what is happening there now? The Russian side is spreading information that they have completely seized this village south of Avdiivka, which is not true. They are rushing things, they usually always do this with regard to this or that settlement, village or any particular location, when they want to report as soon as possible, to classify it as controlled. But this does not happen, so they are ahead of the events in terms of information. This indicates that they will continue to press in the Marinka area, they will not reduce the intensity of hostilities, but this does not mean that they will achieve the desired result, which they are talking about in the framework of these throw-ins regarding this. Well, it's hard to even call it a city, it's just a scorched field, but nevertheless for which fierce fighting continues. The deadline for the Russian command to capture Avdiivka is also being postponed, because the enemy forces won't be able to encircle, and more importantly occupy Avdiivka before the new year. So these plans will be pushed to 2024 and up to the next deadline. Under this third deadline, the Russian presidential elections, Russians will try to encircle Avdiivka. Now Avdiivka continues to be a peak location in terms of the intensity of hostilities. The enemy in this direction is maximally active along the entire line of fighting. There are periodically certain reductions in intensity there, this is due to certain regroupings, bringing in additional personnel to complete the units that have lost combat capability. In general, the intensity is quite high, especially serious directions from the south through Vodiany and from the north through the railroad in the direction of the village of Stepov, as well as coke plant. They very much want to get a foothold in the industrial zone of the plant, which according to the plan of the Russian command will allow them to get faster to the only logistic artery, Highway 05 to 42. But at the moment the coke plant is an insurmountable obstacle for them, so they are also trying to advance through the fields, creating corresponding risks for the AFU. The main backbone of the enemy in the Avdiivka area is regular troops, but now the enemy has started to throw a new grouping called Volunteer Assault Corps on this and some other directions. This formation is a reorganization of various private military companies and volunteer organizations not included in the regular forces. All these forces are now subordinated to the central administration of the Russian Ministry of Defense. Previously, they all had their own leaders and command centers, such as the Wagner Group had Prigozhin. But today, Shoigu has taken over absolutely all control of the combat groups in the combat zone. Yesterday Putin announced his participation in the Russian presidential election in 2024, in March he is going for a fifth term. Part of the Western elites and part of the Western public cannot even understand what Moscow says openly. Where can one expect to understand what is not said openly, to understand some secret springs? They directly declare, after Ukraine, we will go further. We will not stop even if you give us this scorched southeastern corner of Ukraine. We will definitely go further. If anyone is tired of the war in Ukraine, you will be truly tired when the Bundeswehr and US Army start receiving coffins from street fighting ridden Latvia. He won't stop. These kind of people don't stop.